Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Check. Hello. Hello, hello. check, 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 check. Hello. Hello. Check. Hello. Check. 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 Hello. 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 Check. 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 Check.
No, you can use both. Hello, test, 1, 2, test, 1, 2.
You know, sound. I just switch off.
موجود الصبح؟
انا موجود من الساعة 11.
إيه انا جيت 2 وشي يمكن.
انا من 11 ونص لين 4.
انت هني؟
ايه ما مشيت الا 4 وربع. لا والله 4 وربع مشيت.
انت موجود؟
اي والله 4 وربع مشيت والله.
جيت ب2 يمكن انا.
كان عندي شغل الدنيا قاعد. لا كنت قاعد بمكتبي اصلا.
جست لايك ذس.
شفت سلطان.
اي انا شفت سلطان.
سلطان كان يرتب يحوس. انا مريت سلطان في الساعة 12 ونص. لقيته يحوس يرتب سلمت عليه صرفت معاه شوي. كان مكتبي ابغى اشياء. بس
Yes. You want to keep down now? You want to keep here now? Down?
Better?
I keep here.
Yes. But in the center.
Yeah.
Center.
Okay.
No, better. Even more or
A
good?
bit stolen.
Just make it straight.
Okay?
Okay. Yeah.
Strong.
Strong? It's good?
Yeah. If you down, if you want.
Better. Not too much down. It's a bit high. Okay.
there's flexibility somehow, so don't worry about the time.
ناطر شيء؟
اي بس كان معانا ما تكتب العربية.
Very good morning to all of you. Thank you for joining us in the Safety Fusion event. My name is Sultan Robert. I'll be having the pleasure to be your host during this event. Dear guests, thank you very much for your attendance and your support and extending the safety cultures and to ensure to have a holistic and overall program among us. So thank you very much. Also, I want to appreciate Equity employee for attending here, as well as the people are viewing us through the live stream. So thank you very much for being a true partner in success. The event objective is to share safety practices. Today we're going to have a variety of safety topics. It will be delivered by different experts in this field. A top-notch expert, I can say. Okay, so your participation, your input, it's a key success for this event. Okay. So with that said, we will start with the safety moment. As Equity Culture, we always start an event and meeting with a safety moment. And today's safety moment is a special safety moment. It's going to be a video that's proudly to say it's been developed, produced, executed by Equity employee, 100% Equity employees, and in-house. The video is talking about the best safety practices in Equity headquarters for the visitor. And also I'm pleased to say that this is the first release or the first play for the video. It's going to be played in front of external as well internal audience. So, but please keep note that in case of activation of emergency alarm, utilize the exit door on the right and the left, use the staircase to the ground floor, exit the building from the main entrance. The security, Equity security will be guided to the assembly points. So let's start the safety video.
Welcome to Equate, where we will share together some information about this company and its safety practices. Partners in Success is the slogan of Equity Group that represents a global producer of petrochemicals and the world's second largest producer of ethylene glycol. The group has industrial complexes in Kuwait, Europe, and North America. The Equity Group's shareholders include Petrochemical Industries Company, the Dow Chemical Company, Bobyan Petrochemical Company, and Grain Petrochemical Industries Company. Our mission is maximizing stakeholder value by providing quality products and services to our customers. Our vision is a global leader and world-class producer of petrochemicals. Safety is everyone's priority. This film is for information and guidance before you enter our headquarters. Equate is Kuwait's first responsible care accredited organization. Equate implemented several world-class initiatives for safety and environment. Now, let us start our journey with Equate's headquarters' best safety practices. When at the gate of Equate's headquarters, the visitor must present a form of official photo ID. The security officer will brief the visitor about the safety guidelines. And then the visitor will receive a visitor card to enter the building. And then the security will hand over the booklet that contains the relevant safety practices. If the visitor is driving a vehicle, the speed should not exceed 15 kilometers per hour, and reverse parking is a must. It is essential seatbelt buckle. To enter the building, all visitors must swipe their visitor card. Once inside the building, the visitor should report to the reception. Each visitor should meet his or her host at the reception on the ground floor. The host will guide the visitor to the safety video room to start the visit by viewing the video of Equate's headquarters' best safety practices. After viewing the safety video, the host will accompany the visitor to the meeting venue. Equate would like to highlight some important rules during your visit. When using the stairs, kindly ensure using the handrails. Avoid any distractions, such as using the mobile or any other device, as well as avoid carrying too many things. When walking around the building, kindly keep your eyes on your path and avoid any distraction. Smoking is strictly prohibited except in the designated smoking areas. We ask all our visitors to respect the environment in line with Equate's waste management practices. Any litter should be disposed of properly in the designated containers. Equate's dress code is simple. Short and revealing clothes are not allowed. Please be aware of the safety signs around you and the direction of your host. Any kind of weapons, alcohol, and drugs are strictly forbidden inside Equate. Chemicals are not allowed in offices or places where food is consumed. Equate's headquarters has a state-of-the-art medical center to serve employees as well as visitors. In case of any injury or illness, the visitor must inform the host. If the emergency alarm is turned on, do not panic. Your host will guide you through the relevant safety procedures. Kindly adhere by the following. Once the building alarm is activated, all individuals must evacuate the building. When evacuating the building, do not use the elevators and only use the stairs. All individuals must gather at the assembly point. All visitors must be accompanied by their host and follow their instructions. Head count will be conducted at the assembly point. Once you hear the all clear notification, you may return to the building. We hope that you enjoyed Equate's headquarters' best safety practices. Do not forget to collect your ID when leaving our premises. If you have any questions regarding safety, kindly ask your host. He or she are there to guide you throughout your visit. Equate wishes you a safe visit. Stay safe.
Very excellent job for the team. Please also let me appreciate again the team. If we can stand up. Noura, thank you very much. Sally, thank you. Thank you very much. We're doing an excellent job, so thank you very much. Thank you. So without going any further, I would like to invite the Equid Vice President Technical Service, Mr. Nawaf Al-Khaldi, for the welcome remarks.
Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Equate management, I would like to thank you for being here, all of you. This is really a high commitment from all our equators, our employees, and also our partners in success for being here. I would like also to take this opportunity to coordinate and organize this event, and also who will facilitate it at the end, inshallah. And special thank you for the team who prepared this video. Really, I am very delighted to see this has happened by Equator, internal resources, zero cost, but most important is the very high quality and this very good video. From production, editing, and direction, really amazing. Thank you for that again. Thank you very much. Today we are here just to share best practices and experiences among all of us, and I will encourage all of us to participate and contribute to this session to get the value out of it. I will conclude my few words at my experience in safety, and this is what I learned. I am in this industry about 23 years in the chemical industry and 5 years before chemical industry. But what I learned that safety is not a word and not even a job. Safety is a mindset and a culture, and it's a must, it's not an option for all of us. So we have to be there. It's a journey, we should be there. And plus also the incidents we have, I can say, in the country or in the company here, is most of it is not work related. And also most of it is not the critical jobs we are doing. Most of it as a routine jobs, and also non-work related things, and avoidable. And what we learn in Equate here, the main reasons for those injuries or incidents, I can say, are related to complacencies by the people, overconfident to do the job, so they bypass rules or whatever. So lack of discipline and lack of attention, those are the key issues where we will end up by safety. If we adhere to those rules, in my point of view, I think we will be safe. So thank you for your time and attention. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ba'dallah, for the welcome remark. Now we can start with our presentation, and the first presenter is from Kuwait Fire Brigade, Kuwait Fire Service Directorate. Captain Ali Quli, he has really important information and very interesting presentation related to the fire safety at home as well as offices. So please welcome Captain Ali.
Good morning, everyone. And on behalf of the Kuwait Fire Service Directorate, I'd like to thank Equid headquarters and organizers for this special event, Safety Fusion. I personally like the logo, Safety Fusion. From this fusion, we're going to go on and talk about safety. As they said, safety, I believe, it's not a culture, it's more, it's a world of safety, but how can we talk about it? We're going to talk about safety. I believe personally, safety is a practice. Because you might have a nice culture, but if you don't practice it, you will forget it. This is part of life. What we're going to be zooming in today, we're going to be talking about fire prevention at home, and we're going to move on into what's our job as the fire brigade in the Kuwait. In Kuwait, the fire brigade has a lot of responsibilities and missions, and through these missions, most of people believe that we only relate our job into dealing with fires, and we have more than this. Our mission is we offer the necessary protection to save the lives and the properties of the people from fire collapse events, natural disasters, and to prevent the fire. How can we do this? We go back to practicing safety. And before I jump into other slides, I want to talk about safety at your home. So I'm going to ask a question, and if you have the answer, you're going to raise your hand, please. We need some participants. How many of you guys today have a smoke detector at home? Please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12. Plus 1, I'll do 13. Okay. 13 out of over 100, I don't think this is a good percentage. So the other part of people that you guys don't have it, please keep your hand up. The guys who said, I have a smoke detector. Okay. Now, do you have a fire extinguisher? Okay. Good, I have more hands now. Please give yourself a hand of applause since you have some safety equipment. All right. Okay, this is a question. What is the grand total of fire rescue and other incidents offered by the Fire Command during the year of 2017? Give me a guess. I need somebody to give me a guess. Pick a number. Pick a number.
1,000.
1,000. I wish. That'll be a great. Total number of incidents. Pick a guess.
17,000.
I have a gift. I have a smoke detector. I'll give it to you for free. One. No, come on. Be realistic. Okay. There we go. It's 14,087, i.e. an increase of 7% compared to 2016. That's a big number. Don't you think? It's an overload on the governmental sector work that we have to deal with all these type of incidents.
That's a total of all the houses.
Total. And when we talk about total, as a fire command, we don't deal with only fire. We deal with rescue missions and other related services, community services. This is a quick video right now. It's going to talk about our job in general. As you know, firefighters are working throughout the clock, but on the other hand, we have woman power also working on in our sectors. Usually they work in the prevention sectors, and let's look at a quick job of their duty. Okay, let's jump into what is a fire triangle. Most of you guys here are maybe expert around fires and related to what is the safety and how can we deal with different type of fires. I'm going to skim through the elements of every fire around the world. Fire is a chemical reaction in which heat and light are involved. Okay, what does that mean? That means I need three elements. I need heat, flammable material, and oxygen. Oxygen is in the air. Flammable material. Where can I find flammable material in this room? Can anybody tell me? It's around us anywhere, okay? And I need, what I need, heat. Generating heat to the ignition, just to have that ignition spark, okay? It depends where you're at, and usually we heard a lot about hot spots, welding, grinding. You could see in the past few years in Kuwait we have experienced a lot of outdoor fires due to lack of safety. Going back to safety workers, they don't know in which zone they need to do the welding, so we are experiencing a lot of outdoor fires. If we go zoom in back to your home, and what type of fire you might experience at your home. And the question is, are you living in a safe house? Most of you guys go home, maybe you clock out at 3, what time you guys clock out, 3 o'clock? 4? Let's say 5. If you go home at 5 o'clock and enjoy your day, do you think you have a safe house? Most of you guys, when I asked the question and I said, do you have a smoke detector? You said no. Okay, so you're not living in a safe house. Why? Because you might be at risk at 1 second and you might experience a fire. And you don't have the drill or the experience and what to do in case of any emergency. Okay, let's go back to the fire triangle real quick. What the heat is that I said I need enough heat to reach the ignition temperature, flammable material, fuel, and I need the oxygen. There are 3 methods to extinguish any fire around the world. You need smothering, cooling, and starvation. What does that mean? Putting out a fire in these 3 techniques. Isolate. Firefighters and outdoor extinguishing fires and putting out fires, what they do is isolate the material that did not ignite. Why we do that? For us to minimize the number of maybe material and losses that we may experience. For example, if we're in this room and we experience a fire, and this corner, what I need to do, I mean, if I'm well equipped and I have the experience to deal with a fire, I could isolate some of the material for that valuable material I have to not ignite or not catch fire. All right? And that's what we do in outdoor situations. It depends on the size of the fire. Cooling. Cooling when things gets out of hand. You see firefighter with their engines walking and spreading hoses, and it takes hours, maybe 10, 12, maybe it takes a day or 2 to put out a fire. The fire happened in Lajij. You guys remember it, right? Firefighters, 5 days later, the delodge is there and they're still working on that scene. Why? Because the heat is building up. Okay, so what we're doing is cooling off this. I'm going to give you an example of what to do at home. Smothering. If you're in the kitchen, for example, and you don't have a fire blanket, or you do have a fire blanket. Smothering a fire is putting out a fire. This is a different way of putting out fires. Okay, let me give you a quick example right now about smothering. You're having a nice meal, and the stove catches fire. What are you going to do? I saw some people in other classes and other presentations, they tell me I pour water on it. Some people actually do that. Okay? What do you need to do? Some people say I have a wet cloth and I throw it on top of it. Okay, that happens. But why you don't have a fire blanket? Anybody have a fire blanket? Nice. It's the same people who have everything. Huh? Okay. So these are the 3 methods of putting out a fire. You are a responsible person, practice safety with your family to avoid incidents. If we look over here, these are, well, they're very not clear over here. There are residential buildings and investment buildings. We could see that the residential buildings in 2016 compared to 2017, we have a decrease, which is good. But we're talking here, this number is 1,529. So that indicates that most of our problems are in private homes and apartments. So we need to bear this situation and really zoom in and understand why these coincidences and incidents are happening over and over again. Major reasons of fire in the state of Kuwait. Number one, short circuit. Two, children playing the source of heat. Excessive electrical load. Discharge of cigarette or similar. I just want to emphasize on excessive electrical load and short circuit. These two problems are major, really major. You guys have to understand it, and you have to bear in mind, please, when you go at night and sleep, don't overload. Don't overload. Don't charge your phone and go to sleep. Power banks. When your kids, you have charging material, please don't charge them at night. Especially 32% of fires happen at night. Remember this. Other major reasons: gas leak, neglect and non-compliance with protective equipment, charcoal, electrical, portable heaters. Some people connect their heaters directly, not to the wall. You're supposed to connect it directly to the wall. Some people, what they do, they go to the extension cords and they hook it over there. Next thing you know, we have a fire 3 hours later. Charcoal is a killing gas that comes out of it. People don't know it. You especially now winter time, what do? You have a nice place in your home, or if you're going out for a nice trip in the desert, what they do is they sit in an unventilated area. Several hours later, you're going to feel nausea because due to the gas. This is a killing gas right here coming out of it. So you need to circulate the area and be safe. Okay. We talked about batteries, phones, power banks due to overcharge. Please remember, when you go at night, switch off all electrical outlets at your house to avoid any type of fire or incident. Because incidents are undetermined. You cannot say, tomorrow we're going to have a fire at 2 o'clock. It just happens. And you need to be prepared. Okay. Another, number 9, poor storage, risk, inflammable explosive material, usually cooking, related issues. People who have elevator at homes misuse it, usually with children, being there without an attendant. And let's move on into the other subject. Why I don't have a smoke detector. This is a Sawabar complex. A few years ago, we had a really major situation over there, and it was devastating. For us, as a fire brigade, there's a lot of manpower, a lot of effort been putting into it. Due to the nature of this complex, it's old and they lack, again, safety, equipment. Where to place a smoke detector at home? Bedrooms, basements, living room, hallways. Where else? Kitchen?
Corridors.
Corridors? Yes. Okay. And it depends on the size of the room. Bukhur. No, Bukhur is nice. There's nothing wrong with Bukhur.
You know on my wall?
Yes. Okay. I always get this question. If I'm going to light up some Bukhur or other flammable material at home, and the smoke detector will go off. There is a restart button on it. If you push it, it's going to go back to the stationary position. Okay. But I mean, your life is way more worth than before. I mean, I really say that if at night, if I go to sleep, I can feel safe that I have a smoke detector will tell me in case of an emergency. I'll tell you why. There's a story. I'm going to tell you a story right here. We met the head of the NFPA, Mr. Jim Pauly. I don't know if any of you guys have met him, the National Fire Protection Association. And he told me this good story, and I really was touched by it. He said, the fire brigade in the U.S., they were paying a visit for one of the schools. And his daughter came back home and told him that we need to install a smoke detector. And he said, why? He said, because I saw, the fire brigade told me that it's important to do it. Okay. So they went back home, and he said, okay, just for your sake, I will go ahead and install one. And they did. And on that night, a fire engulfed in their house. And why they survived? Due to the smoke detector. That's a real story. See, coincidence sometimes happens, but you need to be prepared. Believe me, if you go to sleep at night, I'm a heavy sleeper. If I sleep, nobody's going to wake me up. Sometimes my alarm will go off, I'll switch it off. But remember, if you go at night and sleep, if you don't have anybody that will wake you up and a fire engulfs in your house, I mean, but if you have, see, we're talking about time. Time for us as fire brigades and the fire department is precious. So it's very important for you to escape from the house. It only takes a minute or two, because when the smoke piles up and takes this mushroom shape and fills up the room, you're gonna panic. And when you start this stage of panicking, you're not gonna know what to do. Why? Because you didn't practice it. So we need this precious time. I call it always precious, because your life depends on it. Fire extinguishers. The people who said, I have a fire extinguisher, remember, it's only designed to extinguish primary small fires. Okay? You cannot say, we're in a fully developed fire and I'm gonna go ahead and use a fire extinguisher. Because there are 4 stages of fire, but I'm not gonna talk about it right now. Usually, in the beginning, you could extinguish the fire with that. There are 4 classifications of it: water, foam, powder, and CO2. We get a lot of questions about which one is the best. It depends on what type of business you have. At home, we recommend to have a powder because it could extinguish all type of fires. At home, you might get experience with electrical fires, solid material, most likely. Solid material and electrical fires at home. How can I use the fire extinguisher? Through the past method. Pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep. I pull the pin, aim the nozzle at the base of the fire, because every fire starts from the ground up. Aim at the base, squeeze the handle, and sweep right to left. Understanding that the size of the fire, the rule of thumb says I get close to the fire enough until I feel the heat and I stop and extinguish the fire. And the second part of it, when I am extinguishing a fire, I never face the exit. Can anybody tell me why? I cannot face the exit. For example, the fire is right here. Right here. Do I extinguish the fire from this area, or shall I go to the left? Okay. Usually you need to give your back to the exit. Why? Plan B, I need to escape. I need to escape route. Okay? Don't be trapped in one area. You have to have plan B. If this exit is blocked, I use the second exit. There are primary exits and there are secondary exits for every room. This is just a schedule. It tells you the importance of each fire extinguisher and what type of fire I could use it with. Right here you can see the powder. I could use it with wood, paper, texture, flammable liquids, gases, and electrical. It's the mother of all. Fire blanket. It's very important that I have one. Where should I install it? In the kitchen. This is the way I could use a fire blanket. Remove the blanket, pulling down sharply on hanging from the bottom of the package right here. Protect your hands and go ahead and smother the fire with it. Of course, the blanket is disposable. You use it only once. And believe me, it's very affordable. This is just a picture demonstrating how can I use a fire blanket. How to act in case of a gas leak. It's very important. Gas leak situations are very fatal. Most of the people affected by gas leak incidents, usually they're in the hospital, critical conditions. I have a lot of stories. One of the famous stories happened in Mishraf in a bakery shop. Most of you guys who go through the media noticed that the workers over there were really affected. how can I act in case of a gas leak? You could experience a very strong smell, or you can hear a loud escaping gas. If you don't smell, that's your problem. But if you can hear it, that's a good way. Okay, don't turn any electrical switches on or off. What does that mean? If I walk into the room, remember, if the lights are on, keep them as it is. Don't try to have any friction in the room. Okay, if don't use any naked materials, and then from there, close the source of leak. Usually is the stove right here at home. We're talking only about houses. Of course, what I need is, because 70% of the air is saturated with that gas, I need to make sure that I have enough circulation. And if you're hesitating, you can call the emergency line dispatch. They will tell you what to do. Procedures of calling 112. When I call the emergency line, don't panic. Most of our calls, when we receive people are panicking. Explain your type of incident clearly. Report the incident correct and give the correct address for us to head to the situation, know what type of problem you have, and we deal with it as soon as possible. Emergency exits. It's very important that you know where are the primary and secondary exits at your home. In case of any emergency, sit with your family and friends and put an escaping route and tell them, in case of an emergency, if I'm not home, what do you need to do? Because most of your time you're out of your home. It's very important for the people who are living, they know how to act. This is the procedure right here. The most important thing is that alert family and friends, and remember, safety is very important. Tell them where we're going to meet and let them call the emergency line 112. This is just a quick stats report about the most common causes of fire based on the governance in the Kuwait city. We have short circuit that you can see is the most common problems we're dealing with in every governorate right here. Excessive electrical load. Of course, we have youngsters playing with a source of heat, discharge of cigarette and similar, arson or doubtful. The most common problem is in Farwania. We go to Ahmadi later on. After that, Hawali. This is also a stats report, indicates that the three major governorates that we're dealing with, most of the problems are in Hawali, Ahmadi, and Farwania, based on the past 3 years, 2015, 16, and 17. This is just a quick wrap of safety. Remember, your safety is our concern. There's a lot of world of safety I could talk about in details, but due to the short of time, I cannot speak furthermore. Thank you so much for everyone and the organizers, and we hope you have a safe day today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Captain Ali. Definitely, it's very important information, and I like your definition. Safety is a practice. Yes, we need to practice this kind of all the safety guidelines that Captain Ali highlighted. So the next presentation, we have a crisis management by Mr. Nasser al-Bahiri. Mr. Nasser is the leader of fire emergency and response coordinators. He have a great experience of crisis management, and today is going to be a unique presentation about crisis. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. Nasser al-Bahiri, team leader fire and emergency response coordinator for the company. Thank you, Equit, for giving me this opportunity to speak to such a fine gathering. Thank you for all of you, wherever you stand, for keeping our community, our businesses, resilience and protection from all harms and aggression. Good, thank you. That's not mine, is it?
Done.
Very good, yeah. Okay. I have to warn you, emergency specialist, emergency coordinator, we kind of tend to be childish and long-winded when we speak our industry and our business. And whenever I'm reminded of public speaking, when I talk about public speaking, I'm reminded of a story that involved a famous writer, Mr. Bernard Shaw. One day he was hosting an event in his house in London, and the first speaker came to him, actually I'm second speaker. The second speaker came to him and asked him how long should he speak for. Mr. Shaw told him that he should limit his remarks for 10 minutes. The speaker looked at him in horror and told him, how am I going to tell them everything I know in 10 minutes? Which Shaw paused and told him, you should speak very slowly. Unfortunately, I'm going to pass the 15 minutes Mr. Sultan gave me. Where's Sultan? I don't know if I have more time then. I choose the heroes of disaster, okay, for a couple of things, because senior management, emergency managers tend to be childish. You know, whenever we activate the crisis room, it's like a Disneyland for us, you know, and keep doing that. I'm kidding. You know, it's only a message that we have to grow with it in your organization. I think it's something that you build the seed for it and grow with it. Okay. Sadly, by the time I finish my 20-minute speech, 80 people will die. That's one person every 15 seconds. 12,240 people will get injured. 12,240 people will get injured, plus millions of dollars due to workplace emergencies and incidents. Keep figuring it out. As a rule of thumb, you know, we look at emergencies and the crisis from different perspectives, but to agree for this session, you know, let's agree on a Murphy law. If something can go wrong, it will go wrong, okay? Emergency and crisis can hit at any time and trigger by anything. Once a wise man told me that a match is a tiny thing, but in the right circumstances and condition, it can be a business destroyer. It can be a major event. Okay. This is a real case which we faced in the oil sector somewhere. In that day, bravery, courage, systems, ignorance, failure, stupidity, everything played in shaping the events of that day. Let's hear this clip on the local floor. This is a car accident. He's trying to describe the location.
من عند المضافي لو انا كان موجود طيب اخد توصلنا رجع للدكتور حرام عليك ما كده خلاص انا واحد في المطار تعالى
He's begging for help, saying prayers. Nothing in emergency management is about compliance. Okay. Somehow I work for an oil company and my boss is an HSE manager, but I'm very allergic to engineers and HSE people. Okay, what we tend to do in emergency management, incident management, any incident commander will tell you, it's a way of life more than anything else. It's nothing about compliance. It's an action plan that you need to implement in a bad day. That's simple as it. In that day, 2 people did not follow the HSE procedure to some extent. They had an accident off the road. They couldn't identify their location. The gentleman who made the call, he worked for 4 years. He drive every day in the same road. But the human behavior can make a big difference during emergencies and the crisis. How people act, how the responder acts, how the casualty, how the victim acts, how the witnesses act, it's totally in different perspective. As you can see, he driving that road every day for 4 years and he had no idea how to explain where he was and to bring the help to him. The gentleman who were casual, you know, in the casualty, there was 2 guys in the car. One lost conscious and unfortunately lost his life later on. The second one was still, you know, conscious. He couldn't find his mobile phone to make the call. He didn't have a radio as per the procedure. He found his colleague mobile phone, but he didn't have the password. He didn't know that he can still make emergency call, and they stayed there for 15 minutes until the other gentleman came and made the call. That gentleman gave us an address which kept us more than 18 minutes away to respond to the right spot. But he said he gave a specific address. Okay, that no one can interrogate, no one can question that, and everyone is there. We have to stop, rethink, replan until we find them later on. People done the impossible to save, their colleagues in that day, but unfortunately and sadly, we lost one soul at that, in that day. But since then, the whole system evolved, the whole system changed, so we don't have that day again. Okay. Who watched the movie? Who read the book? Book? Movie? Yeah, I prefer the book. Anyway. If we're going to learn something from the perfect storm, we're going to learn that there is forces out there that's beyond our control. Okay, and that's the scariest reality of our world today. As long as we work in a risky environment, such as the oil and gas industry, incidents will take place, and there's not much we can do about them. Okay, forget about zero incident. The concept of zero incident is totally different. Okay, however, the outcome of those incidents will depend how our management, our employees, our business partner gonna respond, manage, and learn from these events. Okay, any emergency system, any emergency management system, any crisis management system should have those characteristics to ensure. Okay, we need to take it seriously. Any incident, if you receive any call, anything, it's a true incident until you prove it's the opposite. You need to act fast. Okay, your timely response can make a big difference. Show you care, sympathy to the culture. People accept that we do mistakes, okay? It's a human factor, people will accept that you make a mistake. But as long as you do your best, everything humanly possible to correct it, people tend to forget, actually. Okay? Be honest and informed. Honest to some extent, in a way that you don't lie, okay? But be informative about the incident. Okay? So about the blah, 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 blah. Planning, it's in our DNA. We tend to plan for everything. Anything in life we have to plan, okay? Until I remember something which was said by Mr. Mike Tyson, the first guy. Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face, okay? It's what you do after receiving that punch, what's gonna make the difference in the day, when you apply this. So, let's imagine this as a boxing match, okay? I don't know much about boxing, but I just like this story, okay? You are either boxer number one, who have the perfect plan, okay, 2 straight punches followed by a hook, okay, until you get punched in the face, and you will fall. Or you are boxer number 2, who is more agile, more flexible, you anticipate the punches, you keep moving, okay, and keep fighting, until you also get punched in the face. Why? Because there is so many punches coming from different directions, okay, and so fast, and some of them may come from under the belt, okay. However, both boxers need to be agile, strong enough, capable enough to stand up and keep fighting. The first boxer is our emergency on-scene command, our general employee. The second boxer are our crisis management team, our strategic leadership. Okay, the other important thing is emergency planning, okay, and emergency action plans. God gave us this $4 billion or 4 billion KB processor in the front of our head that is not designed to work under pressure. It will not operate under pressure. Imagine yourself 7 million years ago, okay, hunting in the jungle, and suddenly you have this big mouth tiger in front of you. Before you're gonna say nice kitten, probably you're gonna be dinner, okay? But blood gonna be pushed in your, pumped into your arm and legs, okay? So you can do one of 2 things. Either fight or fly. This blood has to come from somewhere. That somewhere is the front of our head, which is responsible for the planning, reasoning, and making decisions. And that's why it's very difficult to make decisions during emergencies and the crisis. And that's why we need action plans. Simple, implementable action plans. Also, these action plans has to integrate all our capabilities together. Okay, today in Kuwait we were having a discussion earlier, and especially what we learned during the last 2 weeks of severe weather. Okay, we have a lot of silos. In Kuwait we are very good in incident response. Incident response has everything. You need incident or emergency management, into that. We have a huge capability. I challenge anywhere in the world to have a fraction of the capabilities we have with our emergency responder or anything. But we lack the capacity because we lack the integration. Okay, and the way how we operate, we need to respond to undesired event as a whole entity, not as a single organization. Incident command system, incident management system, that's our common language between the responsibilities. No English, no Singlish, no Chinglish, no Arabic, okay, English, one unified language. Incident command system was created in 1976 to create an environment where people can work together, do together, and act together. Forget the thing about military organization working with civilian organization just by the goodwill, okay? We are all we like to help, we are committed in our safety, in our security, everyone will help, but believe me, sometimes too much resources, okay, gonna cause more problem and things like this. A good example in Haiti, during humanity aid after the earthquake over there, which distracted the country, the US foreign aid sent millions in value of aids and things like this, okay? But because that was not planned, what did they send? The majority of it was blankets, beds, sofas, and things to a warm environment, you know, over there. That's why you need to be planned, need to be work together. You need some sort of a system to work, you know, to get it to work. Experience, okay, our hero. I'm reminded by a story. If you know the Pablo Picasso, the famous, you know, the famous painter, that guy was a woman magnet somehow. Okay. One day he was painting in the park and he was approached by a bald woman. And she said, "Oh, the famous painter, Pablo Picasso. I insist, you have to draw my portrait." Which Picasso accepted, okay? He studied her for a minute, okay? And then he took a single pencil with one stroke, he managed to make her portrait. He handed her the painting, okay? She looked at it. Wow! 1 minute, one pencil, you managed to get all my essence. How much do I owe you for that? Which Picasso responded, 5,000 francs. What? It's only took you a minute and a pencil to draw my portrait. How am I going to pay you all that money? He said, "Madam, it took me my entire life." Unfortunately, in our line of business, experience doesn't come cheap. Okay, you don't just buy people from the market and get them there. Okay, we make winners. We bring people on body bags. Nation economy is going to change if we do it wrong. We don't have the leverage of making the loss in the next quarter or anything like that. Okay, so it's very clear. And from our culture, I'm reminded, I don't know how am I going to translate this, but you know, Prince Bedouin Abdel Mehsen, he remember his grandfather once said, King Abdel Aziz. He said, "I remember my grandfather once said, in the time of poverty, he said, okay, being poor is not in money. Being poor is lack of capable men. Okay, and today in Kuwait, like what we've seen in so many incidents and so many hard times, okay, we are not poor by men. Actually, more than that, we have our sisters in every field and things like this who are trying to work and develop this capability. So transfer of knowledge, building this knowledge and capabilities is a very critical thing for all of us, okay, especially in this business. And I'm reminded by a story, you know, actually it's touched and changed me a lot, actually. In 1998, I was a young officer cadet on HMS Sheffield, which was a Royal Navy ship. Okay, in that time, Kuwait used to pay for each one of us 260 kb per day. Okay, they used to call that session is the initial sea training. That the basic sea training you're gonna get. First time you are on a warship, you are the lowest ship and the lowest mate in the ship. All your job is cleaning, wiping toilets, doing things you don't want to imagine. Okay, I was at that time crazy about air defense, something like this. And in that ship, they had a missile called the Sea Wolf, and I used to love that missile. I wanted to learn everything. You know, breakfast, lunchtime, anything, any break I have, I'm always in the combat information center, trying to learn things, nagging people about learning anything. And they keep complaining about me and the captain. So one day, I get a call from the XO, who is the second guy in the ship, okay, to join him next to the launcher, the aft launcher. Yeah, finally someone going to teach me something useful. So I go there, and he received me with 2 pockets of paint, and he said, "Cadet, when you finish painting the aft launcher, you go to the front launcher and finish it." So you can see imagine my face in the bridge after that, okay? During that 6 weeks of training, 1 week we do something called Captain Dog. Captain Dog is one of part of the Royal Navy heritage, where this cadet will work for the captain, you know, exactly, you know, you have to clean his toilets, you have to clean his bed, get his bed done, when he likes to drink his juice, what temperature his coffee or tea he likes and when he wants, and things like this. So I was standing in that break, very upset, and he looked at me, Captain Claire at that time. That guy really changed my life, okay? And he said, Cadet, what's wrong? I said, sir, Kuwait paid 260 KD for me per day, not to bake your bed and clean your toilets. He said, son, tomorrow, of course, and he was pointing at his chair, a captain in a Royal Navy ship, that's the sea, that's the end of your career where you want to be actually, okay? And he said, son, tomorrow, when you are sitting in my chair, the gold in your shoulder, actually I was smart enough to leave early, okay? And the gold in your shoulder, and you give the order, I want a fighting clean ship. You need to know what does this mean for your soldier, for your sailor, for your firefighters, for your employees, okay? If someone tells you an emergency, we are in control, believe me, he never been in control. We are never in control. We lead. This is what you have to do. We never manage when that red lights, start. And you only can lead if you've been with your people. I'm not saying take over, okay? The last thing you want to be there, as a leadership, or something like that. But you have to lead, you have to get people to believe in, you have to build your own story. Communication. Who uses Facebook? Come on. Yeah. Yes. 1, 2 of us. Okay. Today, technology, really changed the landscape of emergency and crisis management, totally. There is a 22 billion likes and shares, Facebook, okay? There is more mobile phone than a human being on the planet, believe it or not. So the world is hyper-connected, everyone has an opinion, and everyone has a way to express this opinion in their pocket. Crisis communication is very critical. I was talking with Captain Ali earlier, okay? But it's all about storytelling. When crisis happen, it's all about convincing the other gentleman or other lady that what you think is happened is not exactly what happened, but here is what happened. The problem is that you have to do this at the speed of the news and social media traveling today, and it's impossible to say stop and think. If you can imagine this, it's like someone taking a feather pillow, shoving it everywhere, okay, and our job is to collect that feather. If we measure them that way, we're going to fail anyway, okay? Mr. Tom Howard, that's the criticality of crisis communication. If you know Mr. Tom Howard, the previous CEO of BP during Macondo crisis or Deep Horizon, okay, he was a high-profile victim, a high-profile victim of foot-in-the-mouth syndrome. Okay, I'm sure that what he wanted to say is he wanted things to go back to normal, but inappropriate phrase meant that he wanted his back to go back to normal. Okay, a misconstructed phrase amplified the anger against BP during Macondo crisis or Deep Horizon crisis, okay, and we know how it's all ended up. But remember one thing, people don't watch car race to see who wins, they watch it to see who crash first. And that's exactly in crisis communication what people are looking at. Recent incident, espionage, terrorist activity showed that the indication were there, okay? Industrial incidents, corrosions, maintenance issues, negligence of employees, terrorist, I don't have the picture because of the time it was there, terrorist activity, when terrorists target you, they start to do dry runs on you and things like that. So there is a lot of indications, over there, that you have to be trained to pick them up and issue the right warning, into this one. So understanding your risk environment is very critical, being natural disasters, being man-made disasters or whatever, okay? Second thing, you can spend as much time, as much money, as much experience in building your capabilities, okay? Imagine this, but there is always external factors. Imagine this if you are an Olympic player and you want to go to the Olympics, okay? You go to this program, special program of food management, food management, training, training times and the program. You do everything properly to win that champion. Can I have a video, please? You do it right to that day.
I've never seen a springboard break like that. There will be a deduction on the landing. I'd hate to be responsible for that.
Not the official tools of gymnastics.
You can have the perfect plan, but remember, you need to act, you need to look at things how the red team look at them, and as I said, that being natural, industrial, man-made, or anything like that. But there is always external factors, okay? It's not only you in this world. Okay, the most important thing in all this, to summarize in the last 2 slides, okay, we must believe, okay, and truly believe that emergency management or the resilience of our organization is more than plans and capabilities. It's an effective culture. It's a corporate culture. If we don't breathe it every day, if we don't grade it every day, okay, it will not work for us. The best way to mitigate and prevent the effects of undesired event is an effective culture. We have to be vigilant. Our organization has to be instinctive. We have to avoid tunnel visions by maintaining a 360-degree awareness of our surroundings. We have to choose to be instinctive and proactive every day in order to make the crisis reality work for us. Okay? Yeah, that's all I wanted here. Okay. It's not only energy industry. Wherever you work, whatever you do, one day you will face a crisis. If you make baby food, one day, unfortunately, you're going to have poison baby food. If you fly airplane, sadly, one day one of them will fall from the sky. So crisis, you're going to face it wherever you are, wherever you work. But what we have to make sure of is to practice these crises and emergencies during drills and exercises, and learn from other people encounter rather than facing them, in the real world where they're going to cost us a lot. If I may sum up in a story, okay, when there is this wise king, okay, who keep hearing that his people don't like him, they think he's a bad king, young king. So what's he do? He go to the wise woman in the village, okay, and ask her, why people keep saying this about me? He said, don't worry, you are a good king, we like you. He said, well, why people keep telling me that, my people, my kingdom, say I'm a bad king? She said, look, I know your grandfather, and he was a total psychopath. Okay, he was the worst king ever. And I know your father, and he's worse than Hitler, Stalin, Saddam, all combined together. And you are 100 times worse than your father. So looking at how things are progressing, you are a good king. We're going to stick to you. So the essence of this story, okay, is what everything we do here today is not about making bad things look good. Okay? We need to stop bad things from getting worse and restore normality. Because by the time, and there is no avoidance behavior, because by the time you face this incident, you have it in your hand, it's too late for avoidant action. You have to face it and deal with it. Okay? Thank you very much, Equators. Okay, it's been a pleasure being with you here today, and I will be here for the rest of the day if I can answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ubaidul, for the presentation. I agree with you. When it comes to emergency, for the emergency response, it's going to be like a Disneyland. So now we have the next presenter, Mr. Gijsbert. Mr. Gijsbert is from Netherlands. He's the international sales manager of Fire Academies. He has also a great experience in different fields of emergency. And today his topic is basically about the difference between the industrial firefighting and the municipal or the civilian firefighting.
Okay. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for the brief introduction, Sultan. It's a very pleasure to be here, and on behalf of the Fire Academy, thank you very much for this invitation. I want to start with this picture first. We had already some great speeches about safety and emergency preparedness. And the reason I choose this picture is I think this is also a success for emergency preparedness. And that is your after-action review. And create a safe environment to learn from each other and to discuss what you did before. And this is what we are used to do at our training facility, discuss with each other. And our instructor will not act as somebody who tells you you did this wrong or you did this right. No, we will try to make a good interaction and try to learn from each other. My name, Sultan already mentioned, International Sales Manager at Falk Fire Academy. And before I went to Falk 2.5 years ago, I worked for several fire services, industrial and municipality as well. This is what Falk Fire Academy is. A training center in the Netherlands, Maasvlakte. And we train municipality fire services and industrial fire services. And our main clients are the oil and gas industry from all over the world. Industrial versus municipality fire services. It seems and it sounds like two different worlds. And do we have big difference in those two worlds, or do we have much simultaneously? Our general impression: industrial fire, big fires, big smoke, a lot of discussion afterwards, environment, etc. Municipality fire service, everything our people can create for us, and of course we can put many more pictures about scenarios, but I think when you ask somebody outside, give me some impression about industrial, they will tell you about this. Give me an impression about municipality, they will give you like this. But when you are changing your view from the outside, and you change it from the inside, and you see it from your management system, then you see a lot of things we have in common for the industrial fire services and the municipality fire services. I hope this is not a new management model that you see first as an emergency fire service. What important is as your management model is to start with your safety policy, define your scenarios. When you have defined your scenarios, industrial or municipality, doesn't matter what, then you know what to prepare for. And when you know where you have to prepare for, you know, okay, this is how my organization has to look like. The second step is prevention. We already talked about house fire safety, but prevention can also be an advanced sprinkler valve system or foam system at your refinery. The third, preparation. That is where all the money goes. What do I need to prepare for? How many training do I need? What kind of vehicles or trucks do I need? That's all defined in the preparation sector. And of course, when you have done everything about safety policy, your prevention, your preparation, incidents will happen. Like the previous speeches say, planes will fall from the sky. You will have now and then a fire on your refinery, etc. But when you have done everything in good perspective, your intervention will be smooth. Everybody knows how to act because we have trained for it, we are prepared for it. And after that, when everything has been settled, then the after-action review is very important. What we have thought about in our policy, in our emergency response plan, does it work? Or do we have to adjust it? So it's very important when we have finished the incident, don't think, oh, rearrange? No. Then the most important part starts, the review. So when we are looking from safety policy, are there many differences between municipality fire service, industrial fire services? Like I said, identify your scenarios. And then you know the dimension of your response organization. Then you know if you only need one big fancy industrial truck, or for the municipality, I will need many. Types of scenarios. And I guess for both, they are the same. Industrial municipality, we can deal with fire. We can deal with a gas release, or it's LPG in-house, or it's a gas release from the refinery, but it's still gas. We can have a rescue from heights, rescue from confined space. We can have hazardous materials on both sections. And we can have crisis. So, yeah, the scenarios will be different. But from our management model, we will still have the same scenarios. But then scale matters. When I'm responsible for, like, your capital, Kuwait City, I will have an airfield with typical airfield scenarios. I will have an industrial area. Maybe I have asthma. Maybe I have other scenarios for it. And then I have a big city with high-rise buildings. Okay, that's slightly different than I will have on a refinery. But when I have to prepare myself for the scenarios on a refinery, I can determine all possible scenarios. Because I know in unit X, I have these kind of materials, this pressure, this temperature. When I have a release, I can make a calculation. Okay, what will be the effect? So that's the advantage of the industry they have compared with the municipality fire service. So the prevention. For the industry, the main issue is to protect assets. And of course, we say, okay, we don't want to have any injuries. We don't want to have any casualties. But the main purpose is to protect assets in the industry. And therefore we have advanced systems. And the municipality, they protect lives and adjacent buildings. And there they have building codes, regulations, etc. But okay, installing or having codes is one. But okay, to maintain a good prevention system, that's a big challenge. I have to do testing, I have to do my maintenance. For the municipality, okay, I have building codes. But who will check if I have a fire-safe building? And is the building still safe after 1 year or 2 years when it's in use? So there you have a big challenge. Preparation for the industry, my pre-planning, very, very important. Because we heard when we have a big incident or a crisis, our mindset will be a little bit upset. So when I have clear pre-planning, that will help me for my incident. For the municipality, preparation is a much bigger challenge than for the industry. For example, when I have to prepare myself for an incident in Kuwait City, I will be faced with roadblocks, I will be faced with speed reducers, but still regulation says, okay, you have to respond within 6 minutes. And then I have a roadblock, so a navigation system will help me in the truck. And nowadays we have systems, okay, you can put your pre-planning as well in this system. So when I'm responding to the scene, I will be navigated, so I have the shortest route to the incident, but as well I can use my pre-planning in the truck. So that will help you as well. So yeah, scale matters. Preparation. Where do I prepare myself for? I have many scenarios. But do I prepare for everything? Or do I make specialists within my organization? Or do I make a calculation that I say, okay, what's the probability that it can happen? And do I invest 1 million in that? Or do I invest 1 million in safe houses and community safety? So that's always a challenge you have. And what we see at our training facility is you can't prepare for everything. You can't be a specialist for everything. It's too much that simple. Municipality as well. Only the scale will be different. Intervention based on fire development. It's already mentioned, for the industry, you have a very rapid fire development because of the hydrocarbons. When you have an ignition with that, you can have a very quickly fire expansion. That's why we have deluge systems, foam systems, etc. For the house fires, we have seen a big change the last 10 years. 10 years before, we used other furnitures, more made of wood. So the fire development, fire spread, smoke spread was much less than we have now. Now we can have a big fire spread, flash over within 3-4 minutes. That's why the smoke detector is very important. So please, I appeal, buy smoke detectors. Old style versus new challenges. The high-rise buildings. Now we have a big discussion about facades. What we thought until now, when we have one building on fire, one house on fire, it shouldn't spread within 60 minutes to the other apartments. But now we are faced with this. Big discussion worldwide, globally. New challenges. Sometimes when we change our storage, our liquids, it can have different fire developments. Do we have a proper MOC procedure within our company? Do we check everything? Do we have a management of change program to check when I have a change in my process? Will it affect my emergency response? Very important, because we found out when we had new additives, for example, in benzene storage, we couldn't extinguish with the regular AFFFs anymore. So it's very important to have your management of change procedure in place. Social media, it's already mentioned. Social media can make you, but it can burn you to the ground during emergencies. And what we see, for instance, in the Netherlands, when we have big crises, we have a dedicated team who is watching social media only, and who's only responding to what people send on social media. CBRN, unfortunately, terrorist attacks. It's not the question how or something, but when it will face us. Luckily, in the Netherlands, we are not experienced with this, I can tell you, but we know someday we will have to face this. So you have to prepare yourself for it. Aftercare recovery. We already discussed 1 minute. Very, very important. We all must have a culture that it's not a problem when you have faced casualties, heavy casualties, dead people, dead children, that it touches you. That's very normal. But within the fire service, police service, we have a culture say, hey, you choose to become a firefighter. Firefighters don't try. That's not the GOAT mindset, because we are all human And it will all affect us. And if we don't pay attention to this, we will have big problems with our employees.
PTSD.
Lesson learned. What I told you, in the aftercare, when we had an incident, it's very important, okay, what are the lessons learned? Is our emergency response plan still actual? Or do we have to adjust? If we don't do this, we will face the same problems with the next incident. So, lessons learned, learn from each other. It's a very important issue. Global discussions now, within all fire services, not only industry, not only municipality, cancer awareness. When I started at the fire service and we had an interior fire, we smelled like smoked eels. Our helmets were black. And we were the guys, we were experienced because we faced an interior fire. Now we discovered, when we are returning from that interior fire, we have a lot of contamination on our suit. We will fill the cabin of our fire truck with hazardous gases. And we just inhale it. And when we have a fire, we say, okay, you have to put on your BA mask. When we have dirty turnout gears, we say, okay, it's no issue. No. After each interior fire, get your turnout gear washed. Get yourself showered. Prevent yourself from cancer. This is really a big global issue. For the industry, we have the discussion about the foam concentrate. The C8, I hope it's banned already all over the world, but now we have the C6 discussion about occupational health issues, environmental issues. But okay, if we have to switch to a fluorine-free foam, what does that mean for my storage? What does it mean for my systems? And then I come back to the management of change again. So, big challenges for the next years for the emergency response industry. I'm still on time, Sultan, because you want me. The conclusion is, yes, it are two worlds, but both worlds do have very much things in common. It's only the scale, interpretation, etc. But you will face the same scenarios. You will all face the same challenges from the perspective of your management model. And when I notice this on the internet, this is really makes me happy. This is where the government and the industry find each other. And the only thing how you can manage big incidents is cooperate with each other. Find each other, align with each other, and then you're ready for the next big emergency. So this is really what makes me happy. So again, thank you for your warm interest. If there are any questions, well, it's not allowed, so that
maybe later on.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Gijsberg, for the presentation. I agree that industrial firefighter is totally different, that we are 90% we don't fight a fire. We just do a cooling for the industrial. So it's very much different field than the civilian firefighter. So the next presenter from the Ministry of Interior, Naqib Yusuf Faras, and he was going to present to us about the evacuation, Al-Khla,
and the requirements and rules for during the evacuations. So please, Naqib Yusuf.
السلام عليكم. يعطيكم العافية. طبعا أنا حبيت أعرفكم عن نفسي أول شيء. معاكم أخوكم النقيب يوسف الفرس، رئيس قسم التخطيط والدفاع المدني، راح ألقي المحاضرة بالعربي. أتوقع أغلبكم راح يكون راضي، ما عنده أي مانع. فإن شاء الله ما راح أطول عليكم الموضوع. بس بداية البرزنتيشن حبيت أذكر ولو بشكل سريع عن دور الدفاع المدني بشكل عام يعني في دولة الكويت. طبعا جهاز الدفاع المدني هو يتبع وزارة الداخلية، تم تشكيله يعني اللجنة هي تعتبر لجنة كوميتي سنة 79، واللجنة هذه يرأسها وزير الداخلية، تضم تحتها أعضاء منها جميع القطاعات الفعالة في إدارة الأزمات والكوارث، مثال الطوارئ الطبية، الجيش، الحرس الوطني، الإدارة العامة للإطفاء، وباقي الجهات الدولة مثل وزارة الأشغال والبلدية وكافة جهات الدولة المسؤولة في التدخل بشكل مباشر أو غير مباشر في إدارة الأزمات والطوارئ. طبعا الغرض أو الهدف من الدفاع المدني بالمرتبة الأولى هو حماية الممتلكات العامة وحماية أرواح الناس وممتلكات الدولة. فتختلف المسميات في بعض الدول من جهاز الدفاع المدني لجهاز الحماية المدنية. طبعا أنا موضوعي اليوم بشكل خاص هو الإيفاكويشن، الإخلاء في الفاسيلتيز أو المنشآت. إذا يتعرف الإخلاء شنو هو، وبالتعريف يكون هو المفتاح بموضوعنا كثر ما راح أحاول أختصر. إذا أقدر أقول الإخلاء هو عبارة عن نقل الناس بصورة منظمة من منطقة الخطر إلى منطقة الأمان بأسرع فترة زمنية ممكنة. عندي ناس موظفين في منشأة، وفي لا قدر الله حالة خطرة، في emergency، على هالأساس لازم أنا أأمنهم وأنقلهم إلى منطقة آمنة. المنطقة الآمنة لها شروط، والناس طريقة النقل لهم بطريقة منظمة organized movement from the emergency situation to the safe zone. فالمرحلة هذه والطريقة تكون عن طريق في خطة موضوعة بشكل مدروس بطريقة علمية، وهذه الخطة يتم التدريب عليها. وايد خطط عندنا بس ما في تريننج على البلان، لازم يصير تريننج على الخطط هذه. فأول بارت بالخطة هذه لازم تكون موجودة عندنا، يكون في تشكيل فريق، في emergency team، وهو اللي يتعامل بالشكل المباشر مع هذا الحدث، انه يخلي المنشأة اللي هو مسؤول عنها. طبعا في قرار وزاري 618 على سنة 87 انه يكون في كل منشأة لجنة وكوميتي، زين تيم يكون هو مسؤول عن الإخلاء المرحلة الأولى. طبعا القطاعات النفطية هي عندها الموضوع هذا يعني تاخذه بجدية، لأن أنتم عارفين المصادر الأخطار هذه دائما في القطاعات النفطية هاي ريسك عندهم، فعندهم تلقون المهندسين أمن وسلامة، ودائما عندهم الاحتياطات كل مكان بالمبنى عندهم يحطون البروشورز، يحطون السوالف هذه، فلازم عندهم الأمور هذه على يعني مرحلة عالية من الوعي الإدراك بسالفة السيفتي وتصميم المبنى. طبعا هو الايفاكيويشن مثل ما انتم عارفين يختلف على حسب طبيعة المنشأة. يعني احنا كون جهاز الدفاع المدني نتعامل مع جميع جهات الدولة، يعني في منشآت عسكرية تحتاج إخلاء، في منشآت طبية، المنشآت الطبية لها إخلاء طبيعتها خاصة، لأن مثل ما انتم عارفين في عندهم ناس في المنشأة ما عندهم سهولة الحركة مثل باقي مثلا الأفراد في المنشأة. نتكلم عن خطة مثلا، قلنا أنه لازم يكون في تيم، التيم يكون مدرب، أو يكون مثلا عنده اجتماعات داخلية تصير إنه يناقش ما بينه إن شنو نقدر نطور من الخطة، شلون نقدر نطور من الأمور اللي تحسن أداء الفريق، وتشوف مثلا اللجنة هذه مثلا شنو الأخطاء اللي ممكن إنه واحد يتداركها أو يعدل منها، التريننج أو الإكسرسايز اللي تصير في المنشآت هذه، نسميه الفاير دريل. الفاير دريل هذا وايد مفيد، وايد يعود بالنفع حق المنشآت اللي تشتغل عليه. في يصير مع سيناريو وفي من غير سيناريو. الجهات اللي تشارك فيه مثلا الإدارة العامة للأطفال، القوات الخاصة، حماية المنشآت الداخلية، الدفاع المدني، إذا كان مع سيناريو محترم، أو إذا مثلا كان من غير سيناريو على مستوى داخلي بس يبون يشوفون مدى مثلا سرعة الأخلاء المبنى حق الفريق اللي مسؤول عن الفاسيلتي اللي يشتغل فيها. طبعا التدريب توزيع الأدوار بين الفريق، نتكلم على خطة، يعني تكون في عندي خطة حق المنشأة بالأخلاق. أعضاء الفريق مثلا نتكلم عن توزيع الأدوار بينهم، من صيانة المخارج الطوارئ. عندي أهم شيء المسؤول مثلا اللي يفرق معاي في وقت الإخلاء، لما قلت لكم أن نقل الناس بصورة منظمة بأسرع فترة ممكنة حق منطقة الأمان، عامل الزمن مرتبط مع كثرة أو عدد الامرجنسي اكزيتس. كثرة مخارج الطوارئ راح تساعدني على الإخلاء السريع، خصوصا أن أنا عندي حالة خطرة تواجهني. مثل ما أنتم عارفين دائما أن الحالات الخطرة هذه ما تاخذ مني موعد، يعني لازم أنا أكون متدرب وعارف ممكن أي لحظة فيها السايرن أو جرس الإنذار زين يرن، وأنا مثلا أكون عارف مثلا مخارج الطوارئ وين. دايركشنال ساينز تكون متوزعة بطريقة صح. الدايركشنال ساينز اللي أنتم شايفينها مثلا شنو فائدتها؟ في ناس مثلا وايد تستهين موضوع الدايركشنال ساينز، إن أنا أدري إن مثلا هني مخرج. ليش؟ ممكن أنت تكون متواجد بواحدة من الغرف فيها مثلا 5 أبواب 6 أبواب، وأنت ممكن تكون زاير مثلي أنا الحين جاست فيزيتر حق البلدنج هذا، مو عارف مثلا إذا كانت في 6 أبواب وفي جرس انذار أي واحد من هالأبواب هو الامرجنسي اكزيت. وخصوصا في مباني وايد فيها كوريدورز وممرات أنتم عارفين، فلازم شخص يوجه. هذا دور فريق الطوارئ اللي مسؤول مثلا. وهو الموضوع طويل وفي خطة وفي تدريب، بس إنه بشكل عام إن دور الفريق يكون عارف المخارج هذه وين عشان يوجه، والدايركشنال ساينز تكون متوزعة صح. هذه فكرة إنه والله الباب هذا هو اللي مخرج طوارئ، وهو اللي أقرب مكان يطلعني على السيف زون مثل ما ذكرت لكم بالتعريف، أو نقطة الأمان اللي يتم تجميع الناس مثلا اللي في المنشأة حقها وتجميعها فيها. طبعا فيها شروط هذه السيف زون أو الأسمبلي بوينت أريا، إنه لازم تكون بعيدة عن أي مصادر خطر محتملة مثل نقاط تعبئة ديزل، أشياء قابلة للانفجار أو الاشتعال. هذه كلها تنحط في الحسبان. طبعا من باب توزيع الأدوار أيضا من الفريق اللي تم تشكيل الفرقة هذه أو يكون مسؤول عن الإخلاء، يكون شخص هم عارف نقطة التجمع، عارف مثلا يتواصل مع الجمهور اللي تم إخلاءه. يعني أنا عندي دائما عندنا إحنا بالدفاع المدني عندنا الإيفالويشن، التقييم يصير على الدرل أو التمارين هذه على شقين. الشق الأول تصميم المبنى، جاهزيته حق الأمن والسلامة، مدى كثرة المخارج، الدايركشنال ساينز. عندنا مثل ما ذكروا الأخوة اللي قبل مثلا أكيد تكلموا عن نظام الإطفاء المتكامل، المرشات، نظام السموك ديتكتورز، الكاشف الدخان، هذا كله يساعد في رصد الأخطار. وفي بعد عندنا نقطة مهمة دائما نحب ننوه عليها، أن في أي مبنى أنا لازم أكون عارف مصادر الأخطار الداخلية، يكون عليها زوم. يعني مثلا في بعض المستشفيات عندهم مختبرات فيها مواد خضراء، طريقة تخزين هذه المواد لها طريقة معينة. عندنا القطاعات النفطية نفس الشيء، بحكم تعاملهم مع المواد الكيميائية هذه لازم عارفين إن هل المخازن، هل المختبرات، هل المباني المعينة هذه لها مثلا نظرة معينة، لها مثلا هذه مناطق خطر، لازم يكون عليها دراسة أول بأول. لازم مثلا في أي حال إن ممكن جرس على طول بالي إن هذه الغرفة أو المختبر أو المبنى الفلاني هذا يعتبر مصدر خطر داخلي، فلازم يكون في الحسبان ويكون يعني 24 ساعة في رصد على هالمناطق هذه. طبعا التمارين هذه اللي ذكرتها اللي هي الفاير دريل أو الاكسرسايزز هذه ترفع من مستوى كفاءة الفريق نفسه، يشوف مدى جاهزيته، مدى تعامله مع مثلا نتكلم على من بداية استجابته للحدث الطارئ إلى إشرافه على عملية الإيفاكويشن كاملة، لأن يتأكد أن المبنى empty, البيلدينج is empty. طبعا الإخلاء طبعا هو عندنا انواع، في نوعين بس اللي معروفين، ان الجنرال ايفاكويشن عندنا الاخلاء الكلي اللي هو اقدر اقول نقل جميع المتواجدين، ان اتاكد ان المبنى خالي من منطقه الخطر الى منطقه الامان. هني انا يكون عندي ان من اعضاء الفريق نفسه يكون يرأسها فريق، يعني في تيم ليدر هو اللي عنده الكول. Do we need general evacuation or partial evacuation؟ لأن في بعض الحالات في بعض المباني أنا ما أحتاج general evacuation، ممكن أسوي حالة من الهلع، يكون حالة الخطر اللي عندي صغيرة ما تحتاج. ممكن أحد الأشخاص يكون مدرب على استخدام الفاير اكستنجوشر إذا احتاجها، أو ممكن أن المبنى تعامل معه وتم احتوائه، بس استل أنه لازم في شخص من الفريق يبلغ 112. راح تطلع فرقة أكيد من إخواننا بالإدارة العامة والأطفال تفحص وتشوف إذا ما في استل في خطر أو ما في خطر. بس إن الكول إذا أنا أحتاج إخلاء كلي أو جزئي يرجع حق الفريق نفسه ورئيس الفريق. إنه مثلا دائما إحنا نتكلم على فريق الطوارئ وهو في الفيرست لاين. أنا دائما أحب في مثال، يعني صدق إنه صار شوي قديم بس يمكن لأن أغلب الناس عارفة المثال هذا اللي كلكم شفتوا أو أغلبكم، الحادثة اللي صارت في فندق ذا أدرس بدبي، وكان الوقت رأس السنة. طبعا ما سجلت أي حالات إصابة في هذا الحادث، ولا يعني لا الحمد لله ما في أي حالات إصابة أحد رواد أو نزلاء الفندق. الفضل يرجع مو حق الشرطة ولا حق رجال الإطفاء ولا الطوارئ الطبية، طبعا كان حق التيم نفسه اللي مسيطر على عملية الإيفاكويشن. كان يعني أكيد هم طبعا شركات خاصة يستعينون بشركات خاصة وهايلي تريند، فأشرفوا على عملية الإخلاء. ترى بس هم الموضوع إنه إذا تبي تشوفها من كذا زاوية، يعني أنت عندك دبي مدينة سياحية تستقبل ناس من مختلف الجنسيات، فيتكلمون مختلف اللغات، في ناس ما تتكلم إنجليزي، تعامل معاهم إن أخليهم بوقت معين. والوقت متى كان؟ في أحد يذكر؟ كان رأس السنة، فكان يعني وقت سيزن، يعني زحمة ومزدحم كان. فأنا دائما أحب أذكر هالموضوع عشان أبين أن دور فريق الطوارئ جدا مهم. ممكن أنه يكون يساعد الإخوان في الإدارة العامة للإطفاء، يساعد الإخوان في وزارة الداخلية، أن مثلا إذا في شخص محشور، في شخص عنده حالة صحية معينة، من إحدى عناصر أو إحدى النقاط في الخطط اللي تكون موضوعة حق المباني، مثلا يكون عندي كشف مجهز بشكل مسبق الحالات الصحية الخاصة اللي عندي في المبنى من زملائي بالعمل، من الحالات ضغط الدم، التشنج، السكر، الصرع. أنا عارف مثلا الشخص الفلاني عنده حالة مرضية خاصة، فأنتوا عارفين إن بالإيفاكويشن السبيشال نيدز تكون له البايوريتي. مثلا عندي الهانديكابس لازم أكون عارف يكون في مخارج أو في جيرز مثلا أو أجهزة محتاجينها الفئة هذه تكون مزودة عندي، أنا عندي إياها وقت الحالات الطوارئ مثل الأجهزة هذه. فالموضوع هو عن يعني يتلخص في عندي خطة، في بلان ايفاكويشن بلان، وهل هالخطة هذه احنا بس إن إذا عندنا الخطة والخطة كانت أوكي نكتفي بهالقدر، ولا يتم دائما في تريننج عليها. لأن مثل ما أنتم عارفين لما يصير في تدريب على الخطة، في تريننج براكتس على هالبلان، راح اكتشف إنه والله ما تنفعني الخطة، يصير هني تطوير، في تطوير على الخطة، في أضيف مثلا ستيبس، في أضيف مثلا نقاط معينة على دائما الخطط هذه تساعدني، والتدريب عليها الدرل نفسهم الكرو او السيفتي واردنز هذول لما يتدربون هني يعني راح يحطون نفسهم امام تحديات، ويعرفون مثلا شنو مواقع الخلل، شنو اللي مثلا هم ممكن يحسنون من ادائهم في اداء الايفاكويشن يكون على احسن وجه فعال. طبعا باب توزيع الادوار على اعضاء الفريق نفسه يكون هو ما ينتهي الموضوع مثلا بالسيمينارز ولا الدرل نفسه، كثر ما تصير اجتماعات بينهم الفريق ويتناقشون يعني مثلا اذا احد اعضاء الفريق كان مسؤول مثلا عن المينتنس، صيانه المخارج الطوارئ نفسها، الامرجنسي اكزيتس هذه، انتم عارفين المخارج الطوارئ لازم تكون سالكه، ما فيها اوبستراكشن، ما فيها اوبستكلز تعيق حركه الناس وقت الاخلاء. للاسف هذا الخطا وايد يعني نلقاه في كثير من المنشآت، طبيعه عملها الحساسه طبعا ان تستخدم الامرجنسي اكزيت كستورج. They use the emergency exit like storage unfortunately. يعني يحطون يعني اذكر احد المستشفيات يخزن السراير، زين، ثلاجات ادويه ما يحتاجها فما عنده مخزن، فشنو بحكم طبيعه انه مخرج الطوارئ ما حد يستخدم المخارج الطوارئ الا مثلا واحد يبي يروح شوي يدخن، صح ولا خلينا نكون واقعيين. فللاسف انه يستخدمون المخارج هذه كمخزن، وهذا شيء جدا خطر. مثل ما ذكرت لكم بدايه الموضوع ان انا ما اعرف متى ممكن انه يرن جرس الانذار، السايرن ما راح يوصلني ايميل قبلها ولا راح يوصلني مسج قبلها، اي وقت ممكن يرن جرس الانذار. فلازم يكون المخرج هذا جاهز وقت الناس لما تبي تستخدم مخرج الطوارئ يكون سالك، مو لا قدر الله تتعثر في اشياء ممكن مثلا كصناديق او اشياء مثلا ان انا احتاجها بسيزن معين او وقت معين، مو مشكله اخليها بهالمخرج لوقت معين وبشيلها مثلا وتنساها. فكثره مثلا ما ادري ايش تسموها الباترولز هذه اللي واحد يتمشى ويسوي تقرير ريبورت حق رئيس الفريق، مساعد رئيس الاجتماعات الداخليه بين، انا ما ادري انتم هني المبنى، انا حتى انا شفت الاخوه بالريسبشن قالوا لي تو صار لهم سنه ونص بالمبنى. هل شكلتوا فريق طوارئ؟ اكيد لازم عندكم فريق، اي. فهذه الامور لازم تكون بالحسبان. واتمنى ان ما طولت عليكم، الموضوع هو والله كبير بس ان احنا مرتبطين بوقت 15 دقيقه. اذا في مجال الاخوه اذا احد عندهم سؤال، عندنا اختصار لان اذا احد عنده سؤال او شيء
الله يعطيك العافيه. خلي الاسئله يمكن بعد ان شاء الله.
ان شاء الله يعطيكم العافيه.
شكرا مرة ثانية النقيب يوسف. Last but not least, we have the post-traumatic stress disorder presentation by Dr. مساعد النجار. Dr. مساعد النجار. He's the head of security at وطنية Airways. I'll help you out. لحظة خلنا نساعدك فيها. بس هذا تحت اي هذا لا
اوكي. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وين سعيد. السلام عليكم. Good morning ladies and gentlemen. First of all, let me thank you Equate people to give me the chance to talk about very important issue, very important topic. Sultan gave me the chance also to help me to give this lecture. Now, usually talk about PTSD for emergency responders. Why? Because they are most vulnerable people to be attacked by PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder. Now today we need to change a little bit because we need to talk about PTSD new through us normal people. When I say normal people, not working with emergency response. First of all, one fact, can we live without stress? No. Stress is our life every day. But the difference is, we need to utilize how to live, utilize ourselves, how to live with stress. Before that, I also would like some time to give you the chance to make me the last speaker, because previous speaker gave me the chance to talk about this. For example, this When Mr. Nasser talked about, you remember the photo with the big tiger, with the caveman? I need you to think about what will happen to him inside. Many things going to be happening inside. High blood pressure, bumping too much blood, dry mouth, and so on. Body preparing himself, between 5 or 5. Same thing, Mr. Banu talked about when he showed us about firefighters start crying. This is normal. This is normal. But whenever we talk about PTSD, most emergency responders, most emergency responders are, we are okay, we're fine, we don't need treatment. And stress, we need the stress, because from minor stress to huge stress. Like one stress, because if I didn't get promotion this year, the stress is we need it, it's good, because it pushes me to work hard to get promotion next year and so on. But stress over the years, if you didn't deal with it, it's going to be a bad effect in your life. Now, what happened? What caused the BTS? BTS coming from, as mentioned here, serious stressful event, serious event. Now, let me give you an example. We will come later on about causes. That these events are perceived as dangerous to self or others, and they our ability to respond quickly. Now, not only you have to feel it, because if you remember, ladies and gentlemen, when the invasion took place, after that few years, at the borders, each time the borders, the army gathered borders, what will happen to people here in the country? So start panicking. Although it was safe and we have troops and everything, but still, they have that memory still exists in their mind. And this thing, once in the mind, is not easy. It's not going to go for after 1 week, 2 months. Sometimes stays most of the for years. Okay. So PTSD, most of the time we start panicking because we do have PTSD. Because we don't know how to deal with it and what to do. It is normal reaction for a problem situation. Now, what caused the PTSD? I'm not going to go into these details, but mention all of them here. For example, sexual rape. If a lady permitted to say being raped, do you think that she like men, or she face anyone? No. And she will hate the men all year round. Physical, stalking, important to eat, drink, emotional isolation. Now, this is we have some examples here, like when people here in Kuwait like divorce, then each one, the man or woman, that started to attack to each other by filing a course, go to the court, filing a case against the husband or the wife, and so on. For example, in the States, what will happen? The boyfriend, when they broke, he will take a machine gun, go to her school and kill her teachers. Or go to her workplace and go there, kill her colleagues, and so on. Again, what causes PTSD? Too many things. Fire, explosion, motor vehicle accident, nuclear disaster, and so on. I'm trying to give examples for us, as we are not talking about emergency responders. For example, a motor vehicle accident. You go in the morning, taking your kids to school, and you see a major accident. At the time you pass there, so small road, the police ask you to go to pass. And you see the dead bodies and everything is fresh, right away. you were there with your kids and driving the bus in this accident. Now, okay, you pass this, you go to work, then you're going to remember this all the time, all the year, because you remember those people in the blood and dying and screaming and so on. So, next day, you will go to the same street. Obviously, no. Now, many things will remind you about the accident, but when these things happening, it looks like CD coming back again and again. All flashback. Everything happened at the accident will remind you about the case. It's not easy to get with it. In vehicle disaster, we have many examples. In social surgical damage to body or loss, one man or lady went to hospital, and for a mistake, he lost his eye or part of his arm and so on. So he's going to live this for the rest of the year. And totally to attack by animal and so on. Sudden death of loved one. We know the fact, it's a fact of life. But let me give you about two types of death. One, somebody's name is John, his father is 70 years old, 3 days home, 1 month in the hospital, 3 days home, 1 month hospital. After a few weeks, a few months, the hospital phoned him, they said, your father passed away. It's bad. Whereas Ali's father, he's going to the mosque every day. So when he came back, or somebody telephoned him, they said, your father passed away. How come? He was going to the mosque and hit by a car and dead. Now, what will happen to Ali or this gentleman whenever he decided, or whenever he gets to the mosque and so on? So this thing stay with him for many years. We will talk about later on how to get it or how to deal with PTSD. When you have PTSD, these symptoms come all the time. Headache, dry mouth, cold, sweaty, hands, upset stomach, and so on. Because all of remembering the situation, and these, you let it know it comes to you back again and again and again, all the time. Behavioral. So, you think you can go to work every day or skip work? You think that he can go early or late? Do you think that he's going to look for other sources to get rid of this problem, such as dealing with drugs abuse, to forget about PTSD, to get about this, to forget about this? Less of social relations. Permit me to say, when it's time to have intercourse with the wife and he doesn't have, he doesn't want to do it for any reason because he is affected by PTSD, then the wife will write and will say, oh, something wrong here, are you having an affair? And so on. So problem arising on this violence. Obviously, whenever he think about this, he's upset, he's putting fire, violence, and so on. This is very important one. When we talk about psychological, those things are coming. Anxiety, depression, low self-esteem, insecurity, anger, and so on. So, for those people, those having PTSD, if they are not got treatment soon, the sooner the better, they're going to have psychological illness. Those symptoms, psychological symptoms, if they are not getting treatment, it's going to escalate to chronic illness and will maybe pass away. Like when I was teaching at the police academy, I remember a case, unfortunately because we don't have evidence or cases in our hands. A police officer attending to a car accident burned. Those people burned to death. Didn't realize that those are his parents. You can imagine what will happen to him. I think if he catches the driver, he will kill him. He will start screaming, shouting, and so on. This is not more my point. My point is, I asked the police officers at the police academy what happened to him. They told me they passed away. How? Because they tried to trace this officer. He got ill, go to work, he can't take help, he goes to the doctor, he gives sick leave, and so on. Because in most of the doctors have no idea about PTSD, so what he gets is sick leave, and he gives obligation and tablets, and so on. He goes to work, his colleague, he have problem, leave him alone. Okay, fine, leave him alone. Okay, take days off. Will it solve the problem? No. The problem is escalating, he has some psychological illness, without no treatment, nothing, then he got cancer. After a few years, few months, he passed away. Okay. So it's time to change the software. Now, what to do? It's time to talk about it. It's time to talk about it. Unfortunately, there are not many places give treatment in Kuwait. For Kuwaiti, there is social development office. مكتب المال الاجتماعي أنشأ بمبادرة سامية باسمه أمير بلاد الله يرحمه لمعالجة اضطرابات نفسية خاصة بالغرب. وما زال بس ما حد عرف إلا قليل. مكتبه في المنطقة وعنده مكاتب حتى في العمل يقدم علاج مجاني. وشغلة ثانية إن في others there's private clinics scattered in Kuwait. There's too many. So these are the things at least you can do. Get enough sleep, because don't let this problem to keep you awake all the time. It's time to sleep. Now, relaxation technique. Okay, connect with others. Connect with others. Go out, enjoy your time. Coffee shop with children, play football and sport and so on. Exercise. Exercise is a very important issue. Otherwise, you're going to sit in one place and think about it all the time. Last thing is eat healthy. It's time to eat healthy. You don't sit and think about it, then you go to the fridge, eat whatever and so on. No, it's time to analyze yourself and eat something healthy. So over time, you will heal from this. By this time, I think I got finished this important issue about PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder. I'm here available for any question after that. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Saad. Appreciate it. Now, to conclude this event, we were going to have a closing remark by the EHNS Global Director, Mr. Mohammed Shimri.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أول شيء تفيتوا ووفيتوا، مشكورين على الجية، مشكورين على السبيتشز. أخص بالذكر وزارة الداخلية مختلف إداراتها وقطاعاتها. أخص بالذكر الإدارة العامة للإطفاء، إخواننا وزملائنا بالقطاع النفطي كبك، والإخوان اللي غير كبك فالك. Thank you so much for coming here all the way from the Netherlands to share with us very important topic. اخواننا بالكوسي مشكورين على الجيه. اخونا دكتور مساعد, thank you so much for this important lecture. صراحه يعني اللي اهم من المعلومات اللي احنا اخذناها القيمه صراحه, واللي اتمنى الحضور استفادوا منها, اللي اكثر منها اللي احنا نتامله هو بناء علاقات متميزه كشركه الكويت مع الاذر كوميونتي ممبرز. احنا ناجحين الحمد لله شركه الكويت بفضل الجهود والسبورت والدعم اللي نحصله من اخواننا اللي حوالينا. يعني الاداره العامه الامن والمنشات ما يقصرون، الاخوان في الاداره العامه لامن الدوله، الهيئه العامه للصناعه، زملائنا بالقطاع النفطي. وي شير وذ ذم وان يعني اذر ذان البروفيت. احنا صحيح شركه خاصه ونطمح ان نكون بروفيت, لان بدون بروفيت ما نقدر نستمر. بس البروفيت از نوت اور فيرست برايورتي, مو هو اهتمامنا الاول. اهتمامنا الاول هو ان الناس اللي تيجي تشتغل ترجع بيوتها سالمين. هذا هو الأهم priority أو ضرورة عندنا. طبعا also we don't forget our colleagues, the expat, that actually they are sharing their experience here from all over the world, from India, Egypt, Philippines, from all over the world. So thank you for being also part of Equate and supporting them. So بالنهاية أود أشكر إذا تسمحوا لي سلطان. وين سلطان؟ سلطان رضا. Thank you so much. أبي بس توعدني إن this is not the last event and it will be continued next year. Okay? No, this is the problem. What I see so far, it's actually very successful. The participants also, they enjoyed it, I know for sure. ومشكورين نورا العجيل بعد. نورا العجيل, she made an amazing job with عبد الرحمن. And again, I want to take this opportunity. أود إني استغل الفرصة أشكر الأخت نورا الضفيري والإخوان اللي صراحة ساهموا في develop السيفتي فيديو. السيفتي فيديو بس عشان تكونوا بالصورة، سيفتي فيديو وأنا أنصح كل بعد يسوون كذي. السيفتي فيديو اللي تقريبا ياخذ 11 دقيقة يكلف تقريبا من 400 ل 500 ألف دولار. لأن راح تكون شركة متخصصة وممثلين وتايم وساعتهم بالشيء الفلاني وأنتم أخبر قطاع النقل. احنا هني we have done it free of charge عن طريق الباذل، طريق سالم محمد، نور الضفيري، سلطان صراحة وأنور الدهان بعد الله يعطيكم العافية. فهذا ما خسرنا فيه شيء. يعني بالنهاية يمكن وقتكم ما في أعتقد ما كان حتى ربع فاللي اخذناه تقريبا يعني الماكسيموم كوست كانت مالته 10,000 دولار مقارنة مع 400,000. فالفلوس هذه السيفنج نحطها في امور احسن، نحطها في امور مور برايورتي حق الناس وحق السيفتي وحق البزنس. فهذا دائما احنا نطرح الشيء هذا. مرة ثانية كفيتوا ووفيتوا، ادري وقتكم ثمين جدا. ثمين جدا بسالفة انه انتم تجونا هني من الساعة 8 للساعة 11 ربع الحين وتاركين الشغل مالكم، هذا شيء صراحة مقدر جدا للاخوان كلهم صراحة. ثانك يو سو ماتش. ما نقدر يعني نوفيكم حقكم بالدعم اللي قاعد تسوونه وجيتكم، مجرد جيتكم هني وقعدتكم ويانا، هذا صراحة يعني نعتبرها فخر لنا. مشكورين مرة ثانية وثالثة ورابعة. والله يعطيكم الف عافية ونتمنى ان شاء الله تستمر هاللقاءات هذه. الله يعطيكم الف عافية.
Again, indeed, much appreciate all the attendance. We're going to start the awards and the recognition. Please welcome the Equate management بعد الله. But just keep in mind we're going to have a group photo صورة جماعية بعد الأول إن شاء الله. I will start with the Sultan. I will start with the speaker المحاضرين. النقيب علي قولي من الإدارة العامة للإطفاء. النقيب يوسف الفرس من الدفاع المدني. السيد ناصر البحيري. Mr. Heisberg from Park ARCADIA.
Anybody in the floor?
Just a good gestures from Park. They have also blog that they want to hand it over to you.
Thank you very much. Because Equate and Falk, we have a very long-term relationship and partnership, and this is an appreciation from our company.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you
very much.
appreciate it very much. Thank you.
دكتور مساعد النجار. الآن تكريم حق شركائنا في النجاح. العقيد أحمد ناصر من عالم الإطفاء. الرائد أحمد الغنيم. الرائد أحمد الطير. السيد مشعل الحشاش هيئة عامة الصناعة. السيد عبد الله العوضي الشركة الكويتية للصناعات البترولية. الآن راح نكرم فريق اللي اشتغل على الهيد كوارتر سيفتي فيديو. نور الضفيري. بدر البادر. سالم محمد. من ضمن الفريق على الحمل بس للاسف مو متواجد. بس فريق صالح حابين يكرمون الهيد كوارتر ويهدون الفيديو.
ابو عمر حياك.
عبد العزيز الوفاء.
هذا السي دي الحين تحت. ما في هلا ما تطلع هلا. حياك. تعال.
One last thing. Really, we have a small surprise for Sultan. First of all, Sultan has completed his international assignment for 3 months at FARC, and he went through a lot of trainings which will add value. And this certification is on behalf of FARC on Sultan trainings. Actually, he didn't know about it, so it was through me and FARC. So, Silver, please.
صورة جماعية جروب فوتو just in the room behind you.
Yeah.